กับสมาชิกฝ่ายชายนะคะก็เรามาทำความรู้จักแล้วก็สัมผัสความรู้สึกคุณนัญญากันเลยค่ะก็สวัสดีคุณนัญญาอีก
สวัสดีค่ะ
ก็อยากให้คุณนัญญาเนี่ยช่วยเล่าเกี่ยวกับตัวเองสั้นๆให้ทุกคนได้รู้จักแล้วก็เป็นใครมาจากที่ไหนกำลังทำอะไรอยู่แบบนี้ค่ะ
พอดีพี่เป็นคนมาจากจังหวัดบุรีรัมย์นะคะได้มาทำงานที่หัวหินนะคะก็หัวหินเป็นเมืองที่น่าอยู่ก็เลยคิดว่าตรงนี้ก็พี่ก็ชอบที่จะอยู่หัวหินต่อไปนะคะก็เลยว่าทำงานนวดอยู่ในหัวหินก็เจอชาวต่างชาติเยอะก็อยากมีแฟนฝรั่งนะคะ
ค่ะแล้วพี่นัญญาหรือคุณนัญญาเนี่ยมีความสวยมั่นใจแล้วก็เก่งอย่างนี้ทำไมถึงเลือกให้บริษัท AFA ของเราเนี่ยเป็นหนึ่งในตัวช่วยหรือเป็นหนึ่งในสื่อกลางที่มองหาสามีหรือว่าคนรักในครั้งนี้คะ
เพราะว่าพี่เคยมีประสบการณ์ในการหาแฟนทางตัวเองนะคะแต่พี่ไม่เคยเจอคนที่ใช่สักทีก็เลยได้มีเพื่อนคนหนึ่งเขาได้ให้เพจมานะคะทางบริษัทนี้พี่ก็เลยตัดสินใจว่าถ้ามาทางบริษัทเขาจัดหาคู่เขาจะหาคนที่ใช่ให้เราได้นะคะ
ค่ะแล้วอะไรคือเหตุการณ์ที่ทำให้คุณนัญญาเนี่ยตัดสินใจที่จะมีความรักครั้งใหม่หรือว่ามองหาความรักในครั้งนี้ค่ะ
ก็เพราะว่าพี่เจอแต่ประสบการณ์ที่มันแย่ๆมาในชีวิตนะคะก็เลยพี่ไม่รู้ว่าจะไปทางไหนดีก็คิดว่าบริษัทจัดหาคู่มันเป็นการมั่นคงของชีวิตของเรานะคะก็เลยต้องได้มาที่นี่นะคะ
แล้วพี่นัญญาเนี่ยอยู่กับเว็บไซต์เราหรือบริษัทเราเนี่ยมานานแค่ไหนแล้วคะ
ประมาณ9 เดือนนะคะก็ตั้งแต่สมัครมาก็9 เดือนก็เลยมีคุณจรนี่แหละค่ะเข้ามาที่ส่งข้อความมาเป็นคนแรกค่ะ
แล้วพี่นัญญาเนี่ยตลอดที่เป็นสมาชิกเรามาเนี่ยได้รับจดหมายเยอะไหมคะ
ก็ไม่เคยมีจดหมายจากทางผู้ชายมาเลยค่ะแต่ว่าจะมีแค่คุณจรคนเดียวนะคะคือคนนี้เป็นคนแรกเลยค่ะก็เขาเลยคิดว่าคุณจรเขาอ่านข้อความของเขาแล้วดูเหมือนเป็นผู้ชายที่ใช่แล้วเขาเป็นคนที่เหมือนจริงจังกับชีวิตอะไรอย่างเงี้ยเราก็เลยคิดว่าตัดสินใจที่จะเลือกผู้ชายคนนี้นะคะ
แล้วครั้งแรกที่ได้เจอกับคุณจรนะคะรู้สึกยังไงบ้างคะ
ก็เห็นเขาตอนแรกที่เจอเพราะว่าเขาจะอยู่โต๊ะแรกของทางอีกฝั่งหนึ่งนะคะส่วนเราจะอยู่โต๊ะสุดท้ายทางนี้ค่ะพอเจอมองไปก็คนนี้อะไรอย่างเงี้ยที่ว่าเขาได้ส่งรูปมาก่อนอะไรอย่างเงี้ยได้พอเราเจอในรูปแล้วเราก็คิดว่าใช่คนนี้แหละอะไรอย่างเงี้ยก็เลยแบบว่าก็รู้สึกว่าตื่นเต้นนิดนึงอะไรอย่างเงี้ยกว่าจะมาถึงคิวที่เราจะต้อง
To our Monday night webcast. My name is John Adams, co-founder of A Foreign Affair. Most of you know me by now. If you don't, you should. And I am joined by a very special guest tonight in studio right here in downtown Phoenix, Arizona. Because not so much for us, but more spring training. But since he's here, he decided to come in. Tom, thank you so much for being here today.
Pleasure.
Appreciate that.
Pleasure.
And you are kind of here for the whole spring training here in Phoenix.
I am.
But you know that we're here.
And I was looking forward. It's been a long time. Since COVID, I hadn't been to spring training for a while. I've been wanting to get down to meet up with you guys, and we finally got here.
We're going to talk to Tom a little bit more. He has a very interesting story to tell, and actually some really good advice, too. Tom's been with us for several years, and he met his wife through us and is now married. He met her in Thailand. He was lucky enough to meet her. And we're going to hear about his story. And also, I think, guys, if you listen to what Tom has, you can ask questions. We have the questions here, and that's fine. And Tom will be happy to answer any questions that you have. So hang in there. We're going to have a whole hour of this, and I'm really looking forward to it. But first, as always, I have some things I got to talk about. We have seminars coming up in Texas. Yes, I used to live in Texas, so I get to do that little bit of accent, okay? Hereford, Texas, which is not too far from Amarillo. But we aren't going to Hereford or Amarillo because they're a little bit smaller, but we are going to Dallas and Houston. And we will be in Dallas on March 22nd and Houston on March 23rd. And both of those seminars are getting close to sold out. So, guys, if you want to get into those seminars, you need to RSVP. You do it right online. You go to the main website there. You just call in and talk to Brianna, whoever, and they will get your name on there because we can only have so many people in the room. Yes, we should have a stadium full of people who want to come see us because it's that important, but they don't.
Sure.
And so, you're only going to get what we're going to get to come. But we just did one in
Hole
Vegas.
in the
And it was
bucket.
amazing.
Every time they get married, you lose a few.
We lose a
you gain
few, the more come, and that's it. But the seminars are amazing. Plus, I get to go to one of my favorite restaurants. I keep mentioning them, and sooner or later, I'm going to get, this isn't payola, but I'm going to get some kind of something from them because Kenny's over there in Addison, which is right outside Dallas, has the best veal parmesan in the world. Bone in, it's amazing. I love going there. So that's one of the fun.
Caught in the madness,
But I love
feel you
Houston as well. You
somehow.
got a pool there. We always,
Let me
something
go,
about
I
the
need you right now. I wanna be
Then we have
next
one
to you.
in
Wanna be
LA, Los
next to
Angeles
me.
on April 19th. So, 3 opportunities, guys, to come see us, see other guys like Tom, because whenever we do these seminars, there's always guys that have been with us that want to come and just share their feelings, their
Do
what
them in
happened.
Utah, I'll be there.
In Utah, Tom would come, yeah. So I'm telling you, they always do. I never know when they're coming. They just kind of show up, and they're like, "Yeah, I was on that tour. Yeah, I met my wife. Yeah, I did this or that." And it's really cool to see. And then you get to talk to the other guys. You get to talk to the myself, staff, and wonderful, food and all that good stuff, and some really valuable seminar-only tour discounts. So if you do decide to take that step and do something, you're going to save some money as well, just for having to listen to me talk for 4 hours. And that's worth it, right? Someone should, we should pay someone because I can't go on. But you can go on a little bit too, as we're going to see here in just a minute. Tom's being quiet for now, but he's going to go here real soon.
They're going to let me off my leash, too.
Yeah, soon. You're going to go. That's all right. We also have the tours coming up, right? We got, Odessa keeps going, and that's pretty much done. We're not taking anyone new for that. But we do have Costa Rica on the 20th. There's still time to jump on that. We have a Thailand tour, your favorite, happening March 27th. And then we have only a few spots left for that Shanghai, what's the word? The first tour, inaugural tour that we're going to be doing in Shanghai coming up April 3rd. And that's going to be cool tour. It's going to be a little different than how we run most of our tours. A little bit smaller, more intimate socials, but more of them. It's going to be a really interesting the way we do that one. It's going to be different. So we're excited about that. Really cool stuff coming up, guys. So, all right, now I want to get with our guest here because I want to also be able to get to your questions and whatnot, which I'm sure we're going to be getting some of those from you guys soon. So, Tom went with us, several times. You've been with us to Costa Rica, you've been with us to different places, but then you kind of let Ukraine, you've been there. Mexico, and then you kind of landed in Thailand back in August of 22, is that sometime around there?
I would have landed in Thailand in 2020 if COVID hadn't been there.
It was not my fault. I had nothing to do with it. It just happened.
Sounding kind of defensive, John.
Yeah, I know. A little bit. Well, you get that a lot. Like a lot of guys. Well, John, I would have done this if it wasn't for COVID. But no,
Hey,
not my
it was
fault.
nobody's fault, so I did some of the other tours until finally Thailand opened. And
Thailand was a little
I
bit
kind
slower
of
in
thought,
opening, right?
it didn't. That was the first tour that I went on was August of 2022. That was the first tour in 2 to 3 years.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I want to hear a little bit about your experience on that tour. And guys, listen to Tom because he's got a lot of really good advice. Let's see, he already got a question. How long did it take for Tom to meet his wife? Well, he's going to tell you. He's going to tell you lots of different things here. And I think he does have a lot of good advice because not only did he go through it, but he was with a bunch of other guys who he's kept in contact with, and he's seen all their stories on where they may have gone wrong or gone right. We'll talk
I
about
still
that.
have a lot of guys that are friends from Ukraine. I have guys that are friends from Mexico, Costa Rica, Thailand. Man, you go on these tours, you meet some friends for life, really.
I've been saying that for years that, we don't do these tours so you can meet other guys. It's not that kind of tour, right?
No.
But it happens because why? And I really think it's because you have like-minded men. It takes someone kind of a little different, a little special to do this in the first place, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not your ordinary guys going to the corner bar who meets Sally and gets married and lives out. No, these are guys that are really trying to they're thinking outside the box, they're trying to find something different, and there's something about those kind of guys that when you put them together, they make friends because they're alike in those kind of ways.
You're in the foxhole together, hunting. That's literally what it is, and you go through some really hard times in the midst of it.
You do?
And as we get into my story, I had written a lady in Thailand that way back in 2020,
Okay.
and it was closed, never got to see her. Off and on, we wrote a letter and met her on the very first. Actually, Len set me up on a date before the first social.
Okay, good.
So, and then we met at the social, and everything, I thought that was where it was going to go, just like my friend Bob. He met his girl on the first one, and he thought that's where it was going to go, and then we go to the second tour, and that was it. Your heart smitten, and
You mean the second social?
the second social, that's
So
what I
same
meant.
tour, but second.
Same tour, second
So
tour.
guys, for you that don't, sometimes we talk and we think everybody understands but there's some newcomers out there.
Sure.
Every tour, pretty much that we do now, pretty much every tour now has two socials, right? So you have one usually on a Friday night and one on a Saturday night. Sometimes it varies a little bit depending where you are, but mainly that's what it is. And the reason for that, the front loading of those socials, as you say, is a good thing and a bad thing, is that we want to give the guys as much time as possible to further relationships with anyone they may have met, and we want them to meet as many different people as possible as quickly as possible so that they can explore those different relationships while they're there.
I'll tell you, there isn't a single man that goes on a single tour that at the end of the tour that he doesn't think back and say, I wish I could go on those two socials over again right now.
Right.
Knowing what I know now, I wish I could do the socials.
Right.
And what I hope to do, and what John asked me to maybe spend some time talking about, is a little bit of how you can make those socials work for you. Because here's the reality. There is nothing in our life in the United States, business, social, career, whatever, that's going to prepare you for a social. I mean, when they talk about feeding through a fire hose, that's a social. Imagine you walk into a room with 124 Thai ladies, the most beautiful women you've ever seen in your life, and you're supposed to pick one out of the group that you might end up in a good relationship with. Well, the reality is you don't have to pick just one in the beginning. Eventually you have to,
Right.
but you don't have to in the beginning. So I'm going to give some heads up. And when I got to the end of the social, I said too, even knowing as much as I did, I still said, I wished I could do a do-over on those. I would do it a lot better now. And then I got married, so I didn't ever have to do a do-over again. So
it
now,
did work for you.
All
but
of that's going to be helpful for others. I mean, some of it did, but I wished I would have focused more. So here's a suggestion that I have when you're on a social. Your dating profile, or your dating, let's say, call your little black book of the women you're going to spend and the ladies you're going to meet and spend your time with, mostly always comes from the socials. It almost always comes from the socials, if they did a good job in the socials. If they didn't, you'll find yourself 3 days after the social with another week to go and no women to date,
Right.
and now it's potluck. And they try, and they'll call up and try and set up dates, but all those girls that went to the socials know that you didn't choose them. They all know you didn't choose them.
Right.
And so a lot of them will simply flat out say, no, I'm not interested in dating. And so you really need to make those socials work for you. So what I'm going to suggest is there are people that are interested in having kids, people that absolutely don't want kids. There are people that are interested in traveling, people interested not in traveling. But, you know, all of that kind of things, there's the one things you like, the things you don't like. Pick two of the things that you have to have. When I say have to have, deal killers, absolute deal killers. That means if they have kids, I'm not going there. That's not the direction I'm headed. So 2 things you have to have, 2 things you can't have. Give them to your translator. She'll introduce you and tell you these are the things. Ladies, which of you does this fit? You'll know immediately. They will look. And here's what I'm going to suggest. Spend your time at the socials not focusing on the most beautiful woman in the room or the ones that you're the most attracted to. Because here's the reality. These girls, if a relationship happens, are going to leave everything they know and love and have ever experienced behind and come live in the United States.
Huge sacrifice for them, yes, and risk.
Okay,
Big risk.
Get rid of this American idea that I'm an American kind of stuff. That doesn't work. The world has changed. Being an American isn't always so great anymore in every avenue that you're in. And I'm just saying that what you want to do is you want to find those girls that are truly interested in you. Because here's the thing. If they're not interested in you, they're not going to accept a date. And they're also not going to go back for a relationship in the United States.
Right.
So find the ones that are truly interested in you, and you'll know it, because they're the ones not texting on their phone. They're the ones looking at you. They're the ones asking questions. You might have one that says, I want to speak, someone that speaks English. Well, if this one beautiful girl in the corner is not saying anything at all, there's a good chance either she's not into you or she doesn't speak English. In either case, it doesn't matter. It's not one you're focused on. Don't spend time focusing on the ones that aren't successful. Focus on the ones that are. Your goal at the end, and then I watched some people when I was on mine, and I watched one of the guys, every time he walked out, he had a list of 27 different women he was interested in. And then the next night, another 37 interested. I said, there's no way you're going to date those 60 girls.
No.
It's not going to happen. And as a result, he can't even remember which one is which. I'm suggesting you want to leave every social with somewhere at least 2 to 3, probably 3 to 5. Because like I said, at the end of those first 2 socials, that's when go out and look through the thing and find your pretty girl that you want to chase after when the social thing didn't work. But the social is your chance to get eye to eye, to look them in the eye and have them look you in the eye and see if they're really interested in you or not interested in you.
It's a great screening process.
If
It
they're
really is.
not interested in you, it's over.
So let me ask you something, Tom.
Yeah.
Some guys will say, okay, John, I'm going to go over and I'm going to pick the one that for this or this or this or this. Who does the picking, do you think, at the socials? Is it the men or the women?
For successful relationships, the woman is the one that picks the man.
think so?
Every time. Every time. Not sometimes, every time. I mean, you might pick her back, but if she doesn't pick you, you're not even getting to. You're not even getting into the batter's box.
Yeah,
Speaking
and I
of
see
spring
that.
training.
You definitely have that on your mind. That's okay. No, I've always thought that too. I mean, look, I met Tanya at this social. It was wonderful. I saw her. I thought she was the most beautiful woman ever, and I went over there. But I think at the end of the day, she was the one that really picked me as well. So that worked out really well. I mean, that was 28 years ago. These socials can be very difficult to navigate, though, because you're in a totally different environment that you've ever been in, right? I mean, if you go to your first social, first night, and you walk into that room, a lot of guys are like, oh my God, where's the bar? I need some liquid courage, right? So they're at the bar or at the bathroom. How do you get over that? What advice would you give to a
My advice
guy?
is going to be not drinking.
Right, okay, good.
Because it's overwhelming. It really is overwhelming, and you've got to be. You get 2 socials. That's it.
Right.
So you
gotta be at your best.
You don't want to be drinking on that social.
No.
Necessarily. You want to be paying attention and finding those people that are interested.
It's not a cocktail party.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
Here's the interesting thing. My situation, the girl I was writing, I met her the first night. We went out, had a great time. I thought that's where I was going to go. Then I went on a second social. I get to my 3rd table in. I'm sitting at a table, has 10 seats. There's one missing. Empty chair sitting right here. All the girls are looking at you saying, hello, Ka. and they're all so sweet and nice. I'm thinking, geez, my suitcase isn't big enough because I want to put all of them in my suitcase and take them home with me, but you can't. And so I'm listening, and I can't think of anything they're saying. I don't even notice any of them. All I can think about is that one empty chair. It's bugging the heck out of me. That one empty chair just throwing me for a loop. And I already had a social the night before and 4 tables before this. So and I just can't get past it. Where's this person? Where's this person? Why is this person not here? And so all of a sudden, I'm sitting through all this, and we just get done with the introductions. And all of a sudden, I notice out of the corner of my eye, a lady walking across the room in white pants. In fact, that's what Whitney calls her, Miss White Pants.
Miss White Pants.
Miss White Pants.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, a bright orange silk shirt And she's walked across the room. I said, wow, I can hardly wait to get to that table. and all of a sudden she's walking towards us. I'm saying, oh, please be the girl supposed to be sitting in this chair. Sure enough, she comes over and sits down in the chair. And we start talking from across the way. Well, I'm a little hard of hearing, and I don't understand Thai accents all that well yet. I'm much better now.
I hope so.
I've got
You are
a
married to one.
master's degree in
Yeah,
it now.
I would think so.
Anyway, so she says, she comes over, she's trying to answer the questions, and she says, wait a minute. She picks up her chair. She puts it from way on the other end, picks it up, puts it right down next to mine, turns my chair around looking right at her in front of all the other girls at the table, and says, all right, let's talk. She speaks English. And she says, I see no reason to sit across the room and need a translator or anything else. I can have a conversation with you direct. Cool. And so we sat and had that conversation. That was it.
That was it. You were done.
I met another girl that night, and I tried to date several of them over the course of time, and there was one that really liked me, but the reality was I couldn't. I was smitten.
She had you at let's talk.
And I left Thailand thinking that we probably would never see each other again, because it didn't really end in a relationship.
Did you date
per
her
se.
after that social?
I dated her only 5 times in a month
Okay, 5 times while you were there.
while I was there.
You were
that
there for a
month.
month? Okay, so you were staying longer than the tour.
Yeah.
The tour's
Oh,
usually
yeah.
like 10 days.
Yeah.
Okay, so you dated her 5 times, and it must have been going well. I mean,
She had COVID. The other one, a lot of people had COVID during
Okay.
times, and so you didn't get to see them. And so at the end of the thing, I came back thinking that one of the other 2 girls that I was dating, that I was going to come back to Thailand and continue dating and see if I could find, a good match. And all of a sudden, Maya calls me up on the telephone. She says, I'm leaving in the morning to fly into Washington, D.C. I'm supposed to go work doing some nails fingernail stuff in New York. And she says, I said, oh, that's great. Well, I'll come by. I'll come over and see you. And she said, no, I don't really want to go to Washington, D.C., and I don't really want to go to New York. I want to come to Utah. And I said, all right, you just get on that plane. By the time you land, you'll have a hotel room for that night and a plane flight the next day to come to Utah. And so she did. She stayed for...
how does she have a visa? What was it?
She already had a tourist visa.
So she had a tourist visa. Okay, interesting.
And so she already had the tourist visa, so I got told by the tour director, he goes, wow, you just set the record of bringing a girl back to the United
pretty
States.
quick.
Because I got home the last day of September, and she called me the 1st of October. On the 4th of October, she was here.
Wow, that's amazingly fast. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So it must have gone a lot better than you thought it was going.
Yeah. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised, and
interesting.
and the thing is our relationship took longer and longer and longer to develop. But what I found was a lot of the things that I thought were really important to me really turned out not to be that important, and things that I didn't really worry about before. And then Maya has them. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad she is the way she is. And so, I mean, I got to say, I never thought marriage and a relationship could be this.
So tell us about your history. Have you been married previously?
Many times. Trial and error. Sometimes my father told me, he says, listen, the dating philosophy of throwing mud up against the wall and hoping something sticks, it's probably not the best strategy. Now, that wasn't the strategy that I used, but
Is this your
might as
first
well have been.
international marriage?
No.
No, okay, you've had it before. Okay.
I went to Ukraine way back maybe 30, 40 years ago.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. So you've been at
Maybe,
this for a while.
maybe before you went to Ukraine.
How long did you say? 30 or 40?
30 or 40, yeah.
Well, we started in Ukraine Russia was about 30 years ago, so Ukraine was about 28 years ago, so probably before us.
Yeah.
Wow.
Before you guys were. Remember, I asked you about that company.
Yeah, that's true. You're an old hand at this. All right.
Well, no, I went once and I thought that was a complete disaster. I'm not doing that again. and then my brother, or my oldest brother, married a Thai lady, and after 10 years, he just said, Tom, I think you'll find what you want in Thailand. And so that started me on a
And you
quest.
mentioned something to me that I thought was interesting too, because a lot of times we just had an executive client in here today, and we spent all day with him. We talk about all these different things, and one of the things we talk about is religion. And because, for some, religion is really important. And you had mentioned the Buddhism and how that really has been great for you. Talk a little bit about that.
I spent a couple of years in Korea. I lived in Korea and with the Koreans, and I really understood the Far East and Buddhist culture fairly well, better than probably most people, but not as well as the people that live there, obviously. But the thing that I noticed in Buddhism is Buddhism in different Asian cultures, Buddha is a god. And so it contradicts with Christianity a little bit, because you should only have one God, theoretically. And so that can be a conflict. In Thailand, Buddha isn't a god. He's more of a prophet or a truth sayer or something, more like Confucius. And as a result, it's all about being at peace and harmony with your relationship with yourself. So I find it interesting. I'm not going to use names because then I get in trouble, but I'm just going to say sometimes someone will get into a situation and they're just having a really bad day. They're having a bad week. They're in a bad mood. And all of a sudden they'll get into the Buddhist prayers and they'll like it kind of push the reset button.
Yeah.
And then make another commitment to sink into being more at peace and harmony with where you are. But I watch Maya. She strives every day to be at peace and harmony with her husband, with my kids and grandkids, with her workplace.
So has she influenced you?
Amazing.
With
Oh
that?
yeah, and now then, she always tells me that I need not be as hot-headed as I am.
I never thought you were hot.
Said, well, my dad's only tried for 68 years. It hasn't worked yet, but there's still time. I can be taught, not very often, but I can.
All right, let's get to some of these questions.
Sure.
All right. So, Lazio wants to know, how bad is the language barrier in Thailand? What would you say to that?
How bad is the language barrier in Thailand? I don't think there's really a language barrier anymore with the Google Translate and the things like that. I've gone on dates and I've had relationships where it was all through the translator.
Right.
And in some ways, it's easier to build a relationship with that because people are focused a little better.
So that's it's interesting what you just said, because there was a client went to Nikolai with us years ago, and he had been divorced. And he met this woman at the social, and he went after the social. That was a daytime social. He did those on Sunday around noon. So he spent like 10 hours with this woman after that social. He came back to the hotel almost shaking, and he's like, I've never communicated better with anyone than this woman who hardly speaks any English. But the reason that I was able to communicate with her so well is I really had to focus on what she was saying. I really had to listen. I'm so used to hearing but not listening. In my marriage, I heard all the time, but I never really listened.
Yeah.
And when I listened to this woman, what she was really saying, it was a whole new plane. So it is interesting when you get into that.
Yeah, it is. But the other thing is, most of them all speak some bit of English.
Yeah.
And here's the other one. In Thailand particularly, and I know we've got a Thai tour coming up.
We do?
It's like, I'm watching some of the guys from our tour on that thing playing there.
You see yourself yet?
I didn't see myself, but I saw some of the other girls I dated.
All right. Let's keep it clean, Tom. Let's keep it clean.
I don't want to get myself in trouble.
You don't want to
There was
get
a
yourself
whole
in
group
trouble.
of them just now.
Let's keep
Anyway,
it clean.
so there I am.
There you are. Okay. Good job, guys. See, we have crack video guys over there. They know what they're doing.
So, where was I at, John?
I don't know. I was going to drive. I knew we were going to crash. We just crashed because you keep seeing yourself. Stop looking at the damn video and talk. We're talking about how they speak a little bit of English and the communication.
So they all speak some form of English, and most of them are pretty good. And here's the other one. They have a goal. A lot of Thai girls, from the time that they're very young, they want to learn English. They want to go to America. They want to date and marry a Farang, which is a foreigner,
Right.
and that's their goal. And it's a prestigious place for it with a lot of Thai women. Yeah. And so what happens is you have an opportunity to meet and with some of those, but most of those people coming to these AFA, they know what it's about. They're coming to meet foreigners. Right. They know it's English. Most of them are studying English, been studying in high school, college, taking classes. It's become an important thing for them. Maya still studies English every day on her phone and everything else. She studies watching TV. She always puts up the subtitles, and then she'll freeze it and say the same subtitle over 12 times. Okay, can we start the movie?
When
right.
Tanya got over here, her English was actually really good. But there was still some slang and stuff, so I could say something that I probably shouldn't have said, and I could blame it on the English. Like, oh, no, honey, you misunderstood.
Oh, you misunderstood.
Yeah, and that worked for about a year or two. Now, forget about it. I can't get away with anything anymore. So sometimes that English barrier can be a good thing.
I don't think there's a language barrier in Thailand, really. I mean, that doesn't mean that you won't meet somebody that you have some communication issues at one time or another.
So many different ways
but
to get
really,
around
with
it.
a translator, you can get around any communicator. I got to be honest. If I have to go with a translator on a date, I need to find another date.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Because I want it. I don't want it. I don't want my communication to go through somebody with the person that I'm viewing. I'd rather just sit on and push buttons on a telephone.
I understand. All right. So, shoe one or show one? I believe that you should pick a wifey that you can see yourself together until death. Usually, I like to see how my lady treats other people during a date. What do you see that made you marry your wife? What was it, Tom?
She didn't reject me. That's a good start, don't you think?
I think that's a good thing. She liked you, okay, but there's got to be something more to that.
Interesting. When she was in America, there was a point at which we were facing a decision whether to stay together or break up.
Okay.
And I couldn't get her to a point where she could say, I love you, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. And she couldn't get there.
Okay.
And so I broke it up.
Okay.
And then she came back later, we got back together and continued to date. And she said, I want to explain what I mean by that. I mean, when I meet you, I know you're a good man. And if you're a good man, I know I can fall in love with you. And that's why when you asked me to marry you, I said yes. Not because I was in love with you yet, but because you're a good man and I knew I would fall in love with you if I stayed with you. And that's why she said yes. Sure enough, I got proposed and we got engaged on Valentine's Day 2021, and we got married 9 days later.
Wow, fast.
And she was in love 9 days later.
Good. So. All right. So guys, we are at the top of the hour. Some of you guys came in late, so we're going to get to all your questions here. So don't worry if you have questions on the board. We're going to get to them. I do want to talk again about the wonderful seminars coming up because you got to go. You got to see us. It's a wonderful thing. You'll learn all about how these tours really work. We talk for about 4 hours. We have other people who have been on the tours there. They share their experiences. We have staff members there. Tanya will be there. She'll be talking about things from the woman's point of view. It's really fun. Fine food there. I mean, the best French fries, stuff like that.
Best French fries money can buy.
There you go. And really some wonderful seminar-only tour discounts if you decide to do something like that. And these are real discounts that are well worth it. And, of course, we give it to you because you have to suffer and listen to me for all that time. And you should be compensated for that, the way we look at it. So we have one coming up in Dallas on March 22nd. And then we have another coming up in Houston on March 23rd. And one coming up in Los Angeles on April 19th. Love to see you guys there. Again, they're almost to capacity. So please, if you're thinking of going, let us know as soon as possible so we can plan for it and we can fit it in and maybe even have to get a bigger room if we have to get a bigger room, whatever it is. Please let us know as soon as possible. We'd love to see as many of you there as possible. It's a lot of fun, great energy. Yeah, a lot of good stuff. We've had guys that have actually gone to these seminars. You ever been to one of our seminars?
Where I met Bob.
You guys
I went right before I was going to go, right after I joined AFA, they did a seminar during COVID that was at the airport, and Bob happened to come
Oh, okay.
on there, and she brought videos of
Oh,
his
that's
tour.
right, okay.
And then I went and that's when I met Bob, and I picked his brain for about a year and a half before Thailand finally opened.
Bob is a client of ours that also met his wife during the Thailand tour. Actually, Tanya and I were the tour leaders on that tour when Bob met his wife. And Bob's a great guy, and he's gone over several times and
He's there right
shared.
now.
He's there now? Oh, okay.
4 months he
yeah.
stayed.
Well, that's great. And he's shared his experiences with our group of the guys that are there. And he's living proof why you should go to both socials. Because if he wouldn't have gone to both socials,
Me too.
he would have missed his wife and you too. Right? Go to all the socials, guys.
Absolutely.
I mean, we get defectors all the time. Yes, I call them defectors because they defect. They go to one social, they think they're in love, and they don't want to go anywhere else. No, I'm done, John. That's it. I'm done. I can relax now. No, you can't, because you don't know what's going to happen. And why would you not give yourself every opportunity, at least for some backup, in case something does not
And it
go right
does.
with this relationship?
and
right?
it does.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. So again, just a little reminder on those seminars. Lots of fun if you're anywhere in the Texas region, or just fly in. We get a lot of guys that fly in or come in from Oklahoma or wherever. That's great. Come in. All right. Max says, I don't know how I feel about dating in a group. I'd rather just video chat a girl or two and then go meet them. I mean, I'll say something real quick and then you can chime in, but look, Max, you can do whatever you like, and certainly you can do that. We have a lot of men that go over what we call independently, and we will help set that up, and we will arrange the meetings when you get there, and that's wonderful. But it's a long ways to go. And even if you do a video call with the woman, you still, all the senses are not in play yet. It's not the same as meeting in person. And to go all that way just to meet one or two women, if it doesn't work, then you're coming. We have a gentleman right now who I believe is in Eastern Europe, went all the way to meet one woman, didn't really work out very well. He's coming back. That is a long ways to go. Now we have also a tour going there this week where they're going to meet between the two socials. Will probably be about 250 to 300 women that they're going to get the opportunity to meet. You can still meet those couple women that you want to video chat with, right? You can make them priorities. Bob, why wouldn't you give yourself every opportunity? I'm not saying this to try to sell you on something. I really don't care. If you want to do the group tour, that's wonderful. If you want to go individually, that's great too. I'm just trying to give you the benefit of my experience over the last 30 years, and more is better. More possibility is better when you have a limited amount of time and you have to go a long ways to accomplish it. Why wouldn't you give yourself every opportunity? I don't know.
And that's what I said. We kind of talked about that a little earlier. I think you ought to go to the first two socials. It's focused more on not who you're interested in, but who's interested in you. You're going to get 10 different tables. You're going to pick one and try and find one or two girls at each table. And at the end of the day, you want to have 3 or 4 or 5 girls that you would be interested in dating should it pursue that way. And then at the end of the two socials, you have 5 to 10 girls that are really interested in you. And if you want to go do the one where you just video chat and do it, you may end up finding yourself in that position if it doesn't work out. I did.
Yeah. I mean, you just don't know.
Two girls
you
I
don't
had
know.
that I was settled on, and I should have met more and paid more attention to who was interested in me. But they ended up with COVID at the same time, and I had a week to 2 weeks in there where I'm twiddling my thumbs thinking, every night at Hillary 11 watching the band sing is kind of fun, but it's not as fun as being on a date with someone you're in love with.
Yeah, I mean, look, we have an amazing infrastructure that we've been building for the last 30 years. Why not tap into it? Why not give yourself the opportunity? The cost is going to be about the same, really, by the time you figure it out with your airfare, the hotel, and everything you're doing. It's not that much more to actually do the tour. And plus, it's fun. It's probably one of the best vacations you're ever going to have because, like you said, you're still good friends with a lot of the guys over there.
All the guys on the tour, I've got 3 or 4 really good friends from Costa Rica. We still chat from time to time. A couple more from Ukraine.
Yeah.
A couple more from a ton from Thailand.
It's like a singles vacation almost. Like you're here and everything's taken care of for you, right? You don't have to reinvent the wheel, where to change money, where to do this, where to do that. The staff takes care of everything. So you're very well taken care of.
Yeah.
All your worry is, all what you're focused on is meeting the different women and going out and having fun. And then you have this support group of the other guys and our staff talking to you about these different things that you're experiencing, right?
Let me say something on that with the guys, because one of the things that happens is when you reach a point where you find someone you really like and you want to spend time, but they have to go to work during the day.
Yeah.
So what are you doing during the day?
Yeah, not much.
And so what happens is it's the guys that you're friends with that you go out and see some sights and do some other things with, killing time with, seeing the country while you're waiting for your significant other to be off work so you can go spend time there.
And plus, if things happen and you're not sure what's going on, you can talk to the other guys, and they give you good advice, actually. And you can talk to our staff, which you can on your own too, Max. That's fine. And again, I'm not trying to, I am, I guess, kind of pushing you towards a group tour, but that's just because I think it's a better way to go. If you go to our seminar, I'm not going to talk about, well, let's go over individually, guys. Do our chats. Pay for those chats.
You don't have to choose either or.
No, you can do both. You can do
and
both.
it's only 2 nights.
That's
for
true.
a couple hours.
That's
2
true.
nights.
All right, John, I'm 33, based in America. Is this still a good age to try the Colombian tours like Medellin? Of course it is. 33, I mean, I was like 35 when I met Tanya. That's a great age to go. And look, guys, when we invite women to attend the socials, we actually look at the demographics of the group, and we try to invite based on the different ages. Plus, you're giving us ID numbers of women that you think you want to meet. Some will come, some won't. You never know for sure. But we try to arrange it to where when you're there, there's going to be women in your age range that you may be interested in, whether you're 30, 40, 50, 60. Right? You're not going to be interested in one, like Tom said. If you can walk out of that room at the end of that social with 2 to 4 good connections, good possibilities, you're doing
The
great.
social, if you walk out with 2 to 3,
Yeah.
it's really valuable because it's 2 to 3 that are really interested in you.
Because
If
you already
if
screened
you
each other.
Focus that.
Right.
Yeah.
So 33, yeah, there's guys in their 20s that are going to Medellin. Last time I was in Medellin, we had 2 guys in their 20s. So 33, you're almost over the hill. Get going. What are you waiting for? Go. All right, Mr. Z. I'm ready for another tour. Good. I'm thinking I'm ready for Peru. Mexico was great in June 2024. Fantastic. Then go to Peru too. I'll tell you guys, Peru is one of our best kept secrets. It seems like we get more marriages per capita out of Peru than just about anywhere. Problem is we don't get as many guys going to Peru for whatever reason. I don't know why, but Peru's an amazing
I'd love to go.
destination.
That was on my bucket list,
was
but
on
I
it?
got married too soon. I was going to go to Peru and then go to Machu Picchu. I was there.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to that
I
one.
did that, and it was amazing. All right, Paul says, I had fun at the socials, but they weren't good for me to meet my wife. Most of the women at the socials were too young for me, so I picked out profiles of women to meet. That's how I met my wife. All right. Well, look, Paul, I mean, that's one thing that I will say is that every social that we do is unique and different, right? And even when you compare it to the different countries, the ones in China are different than the Philippines, which are different than Colombia, which are different than Peru, different than Ukraine, which is a wild, crazy thing. So they're all different, and sometimes you may go to a social and you just may not connect with enough women there, but that's the beauty of the group tour because, like you said, you could have both. So you're going to the socials and you're trying to do your best to maybe find someone that can work for you at the socials. There's no guarantee you're going to.
If you're one of the ones and you wanted someone older, there at the socials, there are some of those age.
There are.
Yeah, the majority aren't, but there
there
are
are
some.
some.
And if that's what you're looking for, you've got no competition.
Right, but like Paul's case, he said, okay, well, I didn't really find who I was looking for at the social, but then I worked with
Yeah.
the staff, we looked at the profiles, I went out one-on-one, and I found it. And that's why we do both. That's why when I talk about the group tours, I always say it's not just about the socials. It's the best of both worlds. You get all the what you would get out of the individual trip because the staff is working with you while you're out on dates. They are dialing, as I call it, not dialing for dollars, but dialing for dates. So while you're out, you gave them a list of women you think you might want to meet. You gave them your itinerary of open spots, and they're like making dates for you while you're on a date. Matter of fact, sometimes while you're on the date, they'll call you
Let me
and
tell
say,
you what happened. It's amazing. AFA was amazing. So I told you the experience I had, and then the 2 girls that I was dating both got COVID, so I didn't have anything. And I'm like, I'm sunk in the water. And then all of a sudden, I got sent back from, Bo sent me back the memo that went out from AFA tour director, sent out and said, hey, just when we thought it was going so well, Tom's dead in the water. He needs a date. Everybody check this out. And then boom, an hour later, 27 different, they had already called, made contact, sent it to all their connections with a profile picture, whatever. 27 girls wanted to date.
there you go.
So you're all filled up.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we're constantly looking for it.
AFA does an amazing job when you're there. You just got to communicate.
Right. All right, David says, with all due respect, being an American, we are still the freest people on earth. Yes, we need to stop taking it for granted, yet no reason to bash Americans like it's a fact. Pick another country that you want to grow up in. We wouldn't even have a chance to go to meet these girls. Yeah, David, I understand what you're saying. I think Tom.
I'm not saying I'm not bashing American.
Right.
I'm just saying don't go in and be the arrogant American.
Right.
Be
Like,
the-
I'm an
be the
American,
nice.
so you're going to want to come with me. Maybe
Right.
I'll choose you, maybe I won't. Because it's not like that.
No.
You know, I talked to Tanya, and, some people say, well, you just married him because you want to come here to America, or you wanted a better life. And Tanya's like, yeah, I wanted a better life. That's absolutely true. But what woman doesn't, right? But it's not
What
just
person
about
doesn't, right?
Right. What person? Yeah, you always want. If you're going to marry someone, you want to improve your lot in life, right? Whether you're a woman or a man. But it's not just, and it shouldn't be just about coming to a country. It should be about the man and the woman and what they can give to each other and how that works. And America's the greatest country out there. I totally agree. But we shouldn't use that as currency when we're talking to the women. I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you don't want to make them feel like I don't want them to ever come across that I'm better than them.
Right. No, you don't want that.
And if I gave anyone the impression that I'm bashing Americans, I want to make sure that that's not the case, because I'm certainly not. There's no one, I'm patriotic about American, but I also want to be an
Respectful
American
of everybody.
somebody likes instead of the American that they don't like.
Yeah, you want to be respectful of everyone, and there are some ugly Americans that go over there and just wear it on their sleeve and like, well, I'm from America. Well, you got to respect everyone. All right, are the socials the best place for someone looking for a 40-plus woman, or are the socials geared towards 35? No, look, they're not really geared. It depends. Each social, like we said, are going to be different. Really depends on the makeup of the age of the guys on who we invite with the women, right? So that's what we're looking at, and we're trying to give a little bit of something for everybody. The socials do tend to run a little bit younger, right, as far as the women go, 20s and 30s, some women in their 40s, maybe some in their 50s. So if you're a 70-year-old guy and you're looking for someone who's 55 or 60, not going to be as many women there, but that doesn't mean that it may not work for you, because there will be some in that age range, and then you can do the one-on-one dates as well. If you're a 40-year-old guy, yeah, there's going to be a ton of possibilities for you. 30-year-olds, ton of possibilities. So,
6 of the 8 girls I dated were all 40 and above,
yeah, and that's fine. All right, Vane says...
including my wife. She's 41.
There you go. If it wasn't for AFA in this site, listening to Wedcasted for advice, I wouldn't have met my future Russian bride. Can't wait to see her again and meet her parents. Yoo-hoo! I'm missing my, I'm missing my machine. But yeah, we'll give you some applause here. Yeah, that's wonderful. We like that. That's wonderful, and I appreciate that. I love when I hear those kind of things, because there it is, yay! Because I'll be the first to admit that dating is a little bit like making sausage. You really don't want to, look at the process, but the end product is usually pretty good. And I will say that, with the dating, there's good, bad, and ugly. And, there's going to be some wonderful things that happen, and there's going to be some things that are not so wonderful. And Tom, you and I were talking
I go
earlier.
eyes wide open.
Yeah.
Good, the bad, everything, it's going to happen. Here's the key. I think for most people, they take it too personal. And it's not personal. It's about finding a match.
Right.
And when you find a match, it works.
But and one of the things that, and you should touch on this because I think it's really important, a lot of what happens on these tours is between the ears.
Yeah.
It's your mindset. It's how you deal with things that are coming at you, because there's going to be a lot of things coming at you on a tour, right? All these women, the interpreters, the staff, the foreign country, the foreign food, the foreign language, all this is coming at you. How do you deal with it? Do you get overwhelmed? Do you get too nervous? Do you shut down? Or do you just try to relax and listen to what we're saying and deal with it? And if something does not go right, don't pull into a shell, but just say, okay, you know what? There's another day. There's another opportunity. There's another opportunity. And if you look at it that way, you'll do well. But some guys, if they go out on a date and it doesn't go well, maybe it was a woman that they were really looking forward to, and it just doesn't go well, because it's not always going to go well, and it shouldn't. These women are not there.
No, not everything is a match.
Well, and it shouldn't be. These women are not there to all like you. Like they're not being paid to like you. It's not like what was that Westworld where it was they were all machines. Remember that movie? And they were robots and they went in and it's not like that. These are real women with real lives, with real problems, with real things going on in their lives. They're not in a box waiting for us to come over. Some guys I think really think, well, I'm coming, so they have stuff going on, as you know, because you're waiting.
Well, I'll tell you, in all the tours I've ever been to, the group tours, there's always one that just can't get out of his own way.
Right.
And he's not having fun, and he's miserable, and he's grumpy. And I'll tell you, when it gets that way, everybody avoids him. The girls avoid him, the guys avoid him, the tour avoids him. Nobody wants to be around a negative Nancy.
No.
So the reality is, it didn't go your way. Okay, that's life. Sometimes it's not going to go your way. So you put a smile on your face, and you go make something else happen.
I think what happens sometimes is guys, they get a little discouraged, maybe if it didn't work well, and they just want someone to blame. So they're going to blame the hotel, they're going to blame us, they're going to blame somebody. Whereas if they just kept positive and kept going, it would have turned out well for them. All right, we got to get to some of these questions because I told them we would. I don't want to go back on my word. And if we go over, then I get yelled at by the union. Then I get the letter. Then they want to fire me. It's a big mess. We don't want that. All right, hold on a second. Let's see here. And I came. Okay, here. Tom, how does she do with the cold weather? Yeah, from Thailand. And snow in Utah.
It was terrible. She hated the cold weather that first winter. In fact, it was awful. That first winter. And then I got to spring. I got to spring and summer, and I said, so man, I said, would you like to move someplace else where it's warm? She goes, no, I want to stay right here.
Really?
I like the snow. I like the four seasons. I'm like,
well, it's got to be different.
Right? Every time you figure them out, they're going to change just so you don't have them figured out.
And here's another one. Tom, this is so true. My wife and I don't speak each other's language, but we talk endlessly every day. See, isn't that nice?
Yeah.
That's nice. I like that. All right, Greg, what would you say was the hardest cultural difference you have navigated with your wife?
Which one's asking? What would you say is the hardest cultural difference you navigated with your wife? I think our hardest part was getting through the green card part of it. Just getting it.
Yeah, that's not what he means. That's a process.
I know that's not what he means.
Cultural difference.
But I didn't really.
Was there food? Was there a food problem? Was there?
No. I
religion?
I don't really have. I guess I got to say, I have traveled around the world a lot. I spent 2 years living in Korea, especially in Asia, and a lot of the Asian cultures and stuff. And so I learned a lot of things. So I don't know, nothing really came as a surprise to me. So I wish there was some difference, but for me it wasn't. At least nothing that wasn't easily overcome.
Okay. Let's see here.
How about you all get
to
Thailand?
I'll get to that. How often do you go back to Thailand?
I thought I'd go back once or twice a year. I'd like to go back once a year for at least a month to 3 months at a time. Friend Bob's over there right now. He's going on 4 months now. And I'd like to go, and we were all set to go as soon as Maya got her green card. And it came at Thanksgiving. I said, okay, let's go. And she's like, no, I've got to earn a whole bunch of money so that I can lavish all my friends and family on all of my legal gotten gains. And so and what was interesting was, she didn't come to me and say, hey, I need you to spend on this and this and this. Maya never does that to me. Maya always says, your job is to take care of us. If I want to do this, I'll do it. So she'll do it. If I want to donate to that accumulation, she's happy to let me do it. But.
Cool. All right. New Dave says, my question is, where's the Mountain Dew? Dave, you can tell a little bit. I didn't have as much, but I did have a little bit. It's in the car. I had some. Okay, I'm kind of like a closet Mountain Dew guy now. We won't go into it, but yeah. So I did have a little bit. You got Monster over there? He's got Monster. But I hit the Mountain Dew a little bit, not too much. CG says, John, you need to do a seminar in the Midwest again. Yeah, we did those ones in Cleveland and Chicago, and they were great. So we do need to get back to the Midwest. Texas is getting there, but we got to go a little bit further. So, yeah, I want to get there. But it's a little cold over there right now, guys. Spring's coming up, so we can deal with it. Yeah. Although, I like the winter. Cool. Dave says, but John, the very first girl that I met told me not to go or else she won't speak to me ever again. John, the very first girl that I met told me not to go to the social, you mean, Dave? I think he means the social. Yeah.
I think so.
You know,
They all do that.
They all do that.
Every single one of them do that.
Because they know what's going on. I
The
remember
girl did
one
it
guy,
to Bob. The girl,
Oh, yeah,
the
they all
first
do
girl
it.
did it to me. They do it to all of them.
I
because
remember
they don't want you to go.
one of the best ones was we did these socials in Russia. And we went to the first social. This guy met this wonderful girl at the first social. And she had this great date idea for the exact same time that the second social was going to be. But she was going to get him back in time. She was going to take him on a picnic in the country. So she took her car. She took him out to the picnic. And guess what? The car broke down. Ran out of gas or something. And, geez, he missed that social. You know, yeah, it was
Couldn't see that coming.
No. These women are not stupid people. They know what they're doing. Dave says, I agree, John. However, the two ladies I asked about meeting at the socials both want them to meet on an individual basis. Maybe they know there's a lot of competition. Your thoughts? Yeah, I mean, look, there's some women just don't want to go to the socials. They view it as too much competition. As if you really like me, you're going to come see me individually. And you know what? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And if that's really what they want, then go see them individually. But that doesn't prevent you from going to the social to meet the other women that are okay with it. And I understand the women's look, if you have 100 women there or 150 and 10 guys, 15 guys, yeah, it's kind of bizarro land for them and the guys, right? It's just different. And with all due respect, we try to give as much respect to the women as possible. We make it nice. There's food and drinks and entertainment and everything. And a lot of those women will make friends with the other women, just like you talked about making friends with the other guys.
They all know each other.
Yeah.
It's a Thai social network. By the way, let me just tell you, if you go to Thailand, don't treat a girl bad, because you do a girl bad, they all know.
They talk to everybody. Yeah.
They all put that out there, and your name's mud in a hurry. So.
And that's another really good point that Tom's bringing up, because you go to a table, and if you're kind of rude to one of the women at the table and really kind of like, charming with the one that you're interested in, that woman is watching you be rude to the other woman, and she's going to remember that, and it's not good for you. So don't ever do that.
And I won't mention any names. It wasn't on my tour, but I'm aware of a situation where a guy had offended the Thai. It went out on the Thai social network. He showed up at a social, and he was like the plague. Wherever direction he went, they were running, all of them. All the women were running opposite directions. They weren't going to go anywhere near him.
You can get a bad reputation real easily. You got to be careful. Mr. Z, Peru, here I come. Got to go. Got to go. I love that. Yeah, you got to go. I mean, Mr. Z, you're going to love that. So go. Peru's amazing.
On my bucket list.
Sarah and her staff, they were so professional. They do such a good job. They will take care of you. They will get you married if that's what you want. So go. They got this binder full of guys who have gotten married there. It's amazing. Let's see. John is correct. I'm just going to read that, and that's it. I'm going to go on.
John is correct.
Yes, other stuff there, but let's just stay with John is correct. Maybe Tanya's watching this. John is correct. Yeah. Okay. Some socials are good and some are bad. That is why I always went on the socials instead of individual
Tanya
tours.
rolling her eyes.
Oh, Tanya would definitely be rolling her eyes right now. Yeah, John is correct. Wait till I get home. Yeah, John is correct. Yeah, the couch.
Oh, you missed it.
However, some socials were good, some bad, and some okay. Cody, yeah.
It's like any life.
Cody's great. And Cody, I really wanted to give a shout to Cody. When we did that seminar in Chicago, Cody drove with his wife that he met through us and their little baby all the way to that social from another state just to share with all the guys at that seminar about what this is all about and how they can be successful and all that. Cody did that with his wife, and both of them, I really thought that was amazing. And again, a shout out to both you guys for doing that and your little one. That was just.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Does that happen a lot? Because see, that's how I feel. I'm so grateful that I found what I've not been able to find for 65 plus years. To be able to find that, I'm so ecstatic and grateful. I want to help and share with
Which is why you're
everybody,
here tonight.
which is the whole reason.
Other than the thousands of dollars I paid you to be here. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the big bucks you're going to pay me later.
No, that's why you're here tonight, and that's what we get. You know what? I don't even know these people are coming most of the time. They just show up. It was a really fun, quick little story here, then we're going to go here, but because we're going to run out of time. But I'm doing this seminar in Texas, right? And usually when the guys come in, I have them, talk about themselves a little bit, why they're there, da da da, right? We always go through and do that. One guy walked in late, and he just sat there the whole time for hours, didn't say a word. And at the end of the seminar, he raises his hand. He goes, I want to say something. I'm like, well, it's about time. It's only been 4 hours. Okay. So he stood up, big guy, and he's like, I just want to say that everything that man has said here today is absolutely true. He said it just like that. And I'm like, okay, what's this guy going to say? Because you never know, right? Because we don't plan this stuff. We don't know what's going to
ambush.
Yeah. Hey, you never know. And it's like, I thought that was hilarious. But we get a lot of that, Tom. A lot of people come to these seminars because they just want to share. And sometimes guys will have a story that's not so great. Hey, I went and this happened, it wasn't so great. But they're still there and they want to try, right? And that's cool. Because it's going to be good,
I'm
bad,
say,
ugly.
all those people writing letters that haven't been on a tour, pick the place you want to go and get there.
And just go.
At whatever level.
Just go.
Just see one of them at least once and see what, and then I'll tell you what'll happen is you'll either find success and won't need to go on another one, or you're going to go again.
Because you see what the opportunity is.
If
Way better
if
than writing.
my life would, knock on wood, fell apart, I'd be back on the next Thailand tour.
I asked him what he thought. Like, does he miss it? And he said, "No, I'm married, John. I love everything. I don't care." But but I actually the best complaint I ever got was a guy who said, "John, my biggest complaint about this tour is that it worked, and I can't do it again." Because they are enjoyable, you got to admit.
I had a lot of fun on a lot of the tours that I went, but I was there for a reason, and when I found the reason, I got it. Now I want to share with other people because I know they're all out on these tours trying to find the same thing.
All right, we got a few minutes left here. I want to hit these other ones. I still think that John's correct. I'm going back to that again. Thank you.
69 is not too old.
No, 69
I'm
is not
68.
too old. Yeah, he's 68. And if he can do it, you can do it at 69. You're fine. The oldest guy we had on our tour was 91. And I wasn't on that particular
That's probably
one.
too old.
No, the guy was okay. He survived.
No, it's not too old to go on a tour. It might be difficult.
Well, he didn't get married. Although he did meet someone, actually.
Yeah.
He was doing all right. But I was on a tour once with an 81-year-old guy. And I tell you what, that 81-year-old guy had more life in him, more pizzazz, danced more than a bunch of we had like 3 or 4 60-year-old guys. He was doing better than those guys were.
Yeah.
And he had that zest for life. And did he get married? No. But did he have the time of his life? Yeah, he actually absolutely loved it. So. And
The other thing you find is some of these foreign cultures, Latina cultures, China cultures, Asian cultures, Thai, Steve Hooby.
You know him?
Yeah.
Huh?
He's one from my group.
From your group? All right. So we got someone, Stephen Thomas Hooby saying, "Hi, Tom. Good to see you." So you got someone out there.
Yeah.
You got a fan already. See, that's what I mean. It's the
I think what you end up with, Steve's got to get back there, man. Get back on that horse, buddy.
All right. Do it, Steve. Ulysses wants to know, anyone going to Odessa Kyiv tour? If yes, hope you'll all have an amazing time meeting wonderful women. Yeah, I'm hoping to. Those tours always concern me with what's going on over there, but I've talked to virtually all the guys, and to a man, they all want to go still, even with everything going, so we're still doing it. But, it should be a very interesting tour. All right. I think we got to everyone's question here. Oh, wait. Don says, Mountain Dew, John, ready for St. Patrick's Day. Oh, yeah. Got to get that energy up for St. Patty's Day. I grew up, many of you know, in Ohio, in Cleveland. And my father actually had a bar, and St. Patrick's Day was the day. I mean, back there, they celebrated St. Patrick's Day like it was the biggest holiday on earth. They had parades. They had the Kiss Me I'm Irish buttons everywhere, and the corned beef and the sauerkraut and the bar. I remember I was a little kid. I was like 7 or 8. I was hanging out in that bar all the time. It was a great upbringing.
I started to say something about that. I'm 68. Are there women in my range? What I was starting to say is in the Asian culture, it's very normal for them to have a 20-year or even greater age gap. So age gap it's not really a problem for many of them. It's a question of, is it a problem for you?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, this guys usually have
my wife is 41 and I'm 68, and we don't
take
really have any.
Geritol?
No, I just keep walking. I walk my
You
3
drink a
miles.
lot of Monster?
I drink a lot of Monster, and I walk 3 to 5 miles a day. And I work out so once in a while.
You're in good shape. I'll give you that. You look good. You
Not
take
bad
care of
for an
yourself.
old man.
Not bad for an old guy. You're doing all right. You're doing all right.
It's all relative.
It is. It is. All right. Well, look, we made it. We made it to the show. Is there anything you'd like to share with the guys as far as what to do to be successful while they're there on that tour? Anything you want to share that they, before we end this?
I think the two greatest things I can say is not to sabotage your own tour. You need to keep a positive outlook, because the truth is the positive people that were in my group, the men, all the men gravitated to. The positive men, the women gravitated to. Everyone gravitates towards somebody who's happy, somebody who's smiling, somebody's having a good time. Nobody wants to be a bumping along. And I will say one last thing. Here's what Maya said to me. When you die, I am never getting married again. I said, well, you got a long way to go. There's a 25-year gap, so you got a long way to be alone. She goes, throughout my life, you are the only man I've ever met that doesn't bore me.
Really?
And I'm like, damn, that's the
very
nicest
cool.
thing anyone
That's
ever
nice.
said to me.
Does she like baseball?
And Bob told her she's lying. Bob said, you're lying, Maya.
You're gonna be married the day after he dies.
No, she doesn't like
baseball.
baseball. I only make her. So we're here 10 days. I'm only making her go to 3 or 4 games. But she'll enjoy her telephone and she'll do.
It's nice weather
communicate.
out there.
That's her
right?
lifeline to the world.
Beautiful weather. Have some popcorn or peanuts
Great.
or something and
Yeah.
watch the game. I really want to thank you, Tom, for coming. I really appreciate that.
It's a pleasure. It's
I
been
didn't set
years
this up.
now.
Tom just contacted me and asked if we can come out and be on the show. I'm like, yeah, sure, we'd love to have you. So I really do appreciate that. And I'm so happy that you met your wife in Thailand. And
Not as happy as I am.
yeah, well, and some of the other guys. I mean, you have these couples that get together, you and Bob. I know with his wife, you guys get together.
They're best friends. Maya and Joy are going to open up a nail salon together
That's
now.
so cool. That is so nice. All right. All right, guys. Well, look, this has been our show tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm really thankful that Tom was here and shared his wisdom with us. He's been through it before.
Hey, they can reach out and call me. I'd love for everybody to find success in international dating,
Yeah,
because it can happen if you set yourself up to succeed.
absolutely. All right. Well, we'll have you on again. So we'll do it. And
Maybe I'll get Maya to come back.
yeah, that'd be nice. So Dallas coming up on when's Dallas? Like coming up here pretty soon. Dallas is on the 22nd. Houston's on the 23rd. It's on the website. Come see us. You're going to have a great time. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll do stuff like this and more. And Los Angeles, April 19th. So come to LA. It'll be great. And until then, guys, until next time, too, be safe out there. All right. And we'll see you next Monday night. Have a great week. Take care, guys.